Isn't technology great?
It's the best thing ever.
And I'm great with it. Obviously, you can tell I know exactly what I'm talking about 24/7. Guys, thank you for sticking with us. Obviously, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. First with the camera, then with the microphone, then with Facebook, then with apparently me. I don't know. What's the common denominator? I'm the guy who's always working on this stuff.
Yeah, I did fine while you were on your little trip.
Yeah. That is true. So we're not the only ones screwing up over here. That's nice. That makes me feel a little bit better. So we'll go in. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Hopefully we're not robotic here. We shouldn't be. With us. Again, tested it, but again, it's whatever. Joseph, we appreciate that, man. Thank you guys for coming back. Ian, we are back, and hopefully this time for good.
Steven says if we were Raiders fans, this wouldn't happen.
I think that might be it. I think this is like a Chiefs curse on this whole area. I'm seeing a lot of red around us, Drew.
Oh, man.
You know?
Yeah.
Do they have internet in Kansas City? Maybe that's what's messing us up. Does Kansas have internet out there?
I don't want to be a Raiders fan.
Thank you, Dustin, for letting us know.
Can I pick a different team?
Broncos. You've already picked them once before.
All right, I'll be a Raiders fan.
All right. And Will saying it's because of our hatred for the Bucs. I don't know. There's a lot of red in here. I don't think it's the Bucs. That's okay, though, guys. Thank you again for coming back. Yeah, Joseph, we're just kidding, man. I don't think it has anything to do with the teams we root for. I think it has to do with me not knowing what I'm doing. Amateur syndrome right here. It's my fault for,
That's not true. That's not true.
I know. It's worked forever, and now all of a sudden we've had, like, the worst 3 years of my life when it comes to technology. So we're going to try to figure it out. Again, I tried to dig through everything. We're not going to dwell on it. We're going to move on.
No.
We're going to start talking about sports.
No reason to dwell on it.
All right. Are you ready to move into these games? Do you feel like we have more to talk about?
No. I think, to be honest, I know that I can't remember. I think it was Joseph that said neither of these teams are good. I can't remember who said that. I don't mean to say, Joseph, you're the one that said that if that isn't the case. But I completely disagree. I think the Seahawks are a legitimate contender in the playoffs. I think the Rams have a lot more to prove. And I think that they're both have a good opportunity to either find themselves in the postseason.
Will, the turtle is looking on from off screen. We won't bring him in there. Good to see you too, Justin, man. I know you're in here to talk about the Packers. I almost said Patriots. We're glad you're here. We're glad you got the message that we're on try 38 for Sports Around the Bar, episode 210. So hopefully there isn't a 39. We'll talk about the Cardinals and Bengals.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about what a dumpster fire this is going to be. But when I have to pick one of these winners, Drew, and I need to catch up, right? I got to get this one right. My whole season could hinge on this game, so I'm going to be watching it. My question is, who do I go with? And I'm asking you legitimately here, who do you go with? Do you bet on the Cardinals on the road with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback going up against an experienced team like the Bengals? Or do we want to look at the Bengals negative and say they haven't been any good pretty much all season except for that game against Seattle? The defense isn't there. Andy Dalton is inconsistent. Even though they're throwing for a lot of yards, they're not putting up a lot of points. Joe Mixon hasn't worked so far. David Johnson hasn't worked so far. What's the answer here? I got nothing. I'm going to say the Cardinals because I believe that at the very least right now they have something to prove 0-3-1 with a new head coach and a new quarterback that just gutted a new head coach and a new quarterback last season when they were in a similar situation. But I don't know. Maybe Andy Dalton wins this one and we talk about him sticking around in Cincinnati.
Oh, man. I think both these teams have a lot of problems, but I got to put it to the Cardinals as well. I think because of John Ross going down with an injury, this is one more weapon away from Andy Dalton, which is a problem. Arizona, one thing they have going for them, their weapons are there. Are they performing? But they're there.
Larry Fitzgerald is.
Yeah.
Everyone else. I don't know. Terrell Suggs is banged up. I don't like that.
No, but this is not a defensive game by any means. This is who can outshoot who. And when you lose weapons, and we already know the Bengals are banged up with A.J. Green not there, and now you lost John Ross, I think it just gets that much worse. I think Arizona wins this game.
I think they do too. Again, I think the difference is just a little bit of fight in the Cardinals. They came back and tied with the Lions, who appear to be pretty good. I don't know if they are, but they look like they're pretty good. They battled back from a 19-point deficit. I haven't seen Cincinnati battle back from a whole lot. They've kind of hung in games like with the Bills, and then they hung in with the Seahawks, but those games, they came up way short in anyway. Not way short, but they never really seemed to be a threat. It was always that drive they needed at the end of the game, and then it just never works out, right?
Yeah.
Cincinnati in a nutshell. I don't. Maybe Zach Taylor can inspire this group. Maybe he's the next great coach, but we're also talking about a guy that, he was like the 8th guy hired this offseason. He's not a guy that you point to and you're like, we got to have him. Cliff Kingsbury was. He was the first guy off the board.
Yeah. Agreed.
A lot to prove here.
A lot of people are going Arizona Cardinals, -1. Steven says Cardinals win, Bengals are awful. Dustin says not impressed by either team at all, but he thinks David Johnson has a good week and the Cardinals get it done. He just doesn't know what to think about Kyler Murray yet. Ian said he would rather watch the Mexican Football League the game this week over this game. And Joseph says as much as he does not like Kyler, Cardinals win. And Will, the lone man standing, said Bengals will win. He has faith in the Ginger Slinger, the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle, why not? Joseph wants to know.
It's the Red Rocket in my world.
Okay. Joseph wants to know, does Joe Mixon go off like Christian McCaffrey did? Thoughts? If you're going to play him, and if he's going to have a good week, now is the time to do it. You probably spent a second-round pick at least to get him on your fantasy team, and if that's what you're asking me about, you probably spent a pretty high pick on him. You got to play him in this game. And if he doesn't perform, maybe it's time to talk about trading him or benching him and trying to find another replacement for him, because you're not going to get a lot of rushing defenses easier to beat than the Arizona Cardinals right now. I mean, look at the way they've been dominated up to this point. They've got injuries at linebacker. They've got injuries on their defensive line. This is going to be a group that Joe Mixon should be able to dominate. As bad as the Bengals offensive line is, this has got to be a Joe Mixon game. If they're going to win, I want to see it on the ground this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Justin says he's actually here to talk about Aaron Rodgers Stadium, a.k.a. Jerry's World, going off on a limb, but the Packers blow up this weekend with a 38-28 win. He owns the Cowboys and that stadium.
We will talk about that, but to preview it here, they've struggled stopping the run so far. What does Zeke need to do in this game to get the Cowboys a win here? Plus, this defense looks good. Plus, Devontae Adams is coming back off that foot injury. I think it was a toe injury, actually, against the Eagles. They got some question marks of their own. I don't love them this week. I think this is the type of team the Packers don't want to face. I think the Packers want to go play the Chiefs and the Patriots. Well, maybe not the Patriots. They run the ball a lot, too. They want to go play teams that want to throw all over you. I don't know that Dallas is going to be that intent on throwing, even though they did for the first 3 weeks to prove that Dak Prescott's a good quarterback against bad defenses.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's jump to the next game.
Cardinals. We're sticking with the show pick Cardinals. We'll talk about the Bills-Titans.
Correct. Buffalo Bills go on the road, come here into Nashville to play the Tennessee Titans. We both see this game going differently. You are actually going with your team this week because you let them down and didn't pick them last week, and I did.
And it paid off in a big way. In a big way.
But I'm not going with this anymore. I believe in this Bills team. Yes, Josh Allen not being there is going to be a huge hit. It's definitely not a good thing to look at. But the defense is what matters the most. And I believe if the defense can hold Tom Brady to 150 and interception, when it comes to Marcus Mariota, this should be a lot easier to stop.
And Ian says, let's talk about an actual good game. What? Titans win? I'm going to take the Titans this week. This is, again, a 51-49 toss a coin. I don't know who's going to win. Titans are super inconsistent. Bills have been inconsistent. It could be Matt Barkley. It could be their rookie Josh Allen or their second-year quarterback Josh Allen. I don't really love either one of these guys, to be honest. I don't really love either one of these teams. They both play great defense. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think right now, if I had to say something that's going to be the difference, is Marcus Mariota has not thrown an interception to this point. Then again, he's Mr. Inconsistent. Maybe it starts this week, but up until now, he's done a great job protecting the ball. If he can do that, I think you generate a turnover or two from Matt Barkley. You generate a turnover or two from Josh Allen, regardless of who it is. I'm going to give the edge to the Titans here by like the slimmest of margins. Like I said, I don't know. Just like last week, this is not a good one I feel good about. It's not a game I would put any money on. Titans are at home. They need this win. Marcus is playing for a contract. I'll go Titans here.
Justin says that's where all 4 TDs come from, Drew, so start Zeke.
Talking about Zeke when I said he's going to run the ball all over the place. And a couple of people are saying he might get shut down, that the Packers might focus on Zeke and try to take him out of the game. I don't know that the defense is good enough to do that. I don't know the defense is good enough to put 6 or 7 guys in the box consistently and send them forward to try to stop Zeke and then let guys like Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb try to make plays. I know Cooper's been a little banged up, but I don't think I don't think they're good enough yet to take away the Cowboys' passing game by focusing on Zeke.
Michael says Buffalo wins this game. John Brown has a big game this week. Not believing in the Titans secondary, huh?
I don't think anyone in the air in this game is going to have a big week. Maybe Matt Barkley. I think Matt Barkley is an underrated passer. I don't think he's a great player, but I think he's like kind of that 33rd, 34th, 35th best quarterback in the league where he's a good backup. He just must be a jerk of a human being because nobody seems to want him on their team. And no offense, Matt Barkley, if you're a nice guy, never met you, but every time I watch him, I'm like, why is he not playing? Or why is he having a hard time sticking with the team? it's like he's the last guy signed. They have an injury, or they're like, we didn't get a backup quarterback, so we'll sign Matt Barkley. Don't know why that is, but I actually think he's pretty solid when it comes to on the field kind of talent.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it before. Joseph says the Bills got this all day. Corey says the Bills will get the W. No one's siding with you, man.
That's okay. This is exactly where I want it to be. Every time everyone is like, the Titans win this game, the Titans come out lethargic. It looks like the Indianapolis game where they just get beat up and they look like they can't find their ass with both hands. I'm cool with being the underdog here. Believe me, I am. I know the Bills are 3-1. Oh no. I mean, they played the Patriots tough. Sure. What about the Titans' offense has impressed you to this point?
Nothing.
What about the Bills' offense has impressed you to this point?
Nothing.
It's going to be a defensive struggle. When it is, you just got to get a turnover. And so far, Marcus hasn't thrown a pick. So I'll roll with that for now. Again, I don't feel great about this. I can't say those guys are wrong for picking the Bills, but I think the Titans are always in a better spot when they're the underdog and everyone's disrespecting.
They're not saying you're wrong. We're saying you're wrong. You're not saying they're wrong. We're saying you're wrong. It's okay. It's all right.
You need a minute to think about that?
Dude, shut up, man.
Do the math.
I've been at distilleries all day and wineries. You're lucky I'm even sitting here.
You're not. We're not even on camera right now.
I should be sleeping or more drinking. I am drinking, but harder stuff than this.
Joseph says Cooper will be nullified by Jair Alexander. I don't think anyone nullifies Amari Cooper. Not single-handedly. Maybe one or two guys. I don't know that Alexander's to that level yet. He looks good. But nullifies?
He can. That's not...
I don't think so. But not on an island. They can't go to him and say, it's all you, kid.
Not all game long. It just... Rarely does any corner stop a receiver all game long. And I don't know if Alexander's there yet. Yeah, he'll definitely get the best of Cooper at a couple times, but it's not going to be all game long.
It looks like we're all looking forward to this Packers game because Jonathan is saying the Eagles take first place in the East this Sunday. With that, you're going to need that Packers team to beat the Cowboys. You're also going to need the Eagles to pull through against the Jets, but I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. We'll talk about that one in a minute. We'll talk about the Bears and Raiders next.
Do it.
Going into this game, again, tough to pick the Raiders. I know there's some Raiders fans out there that want to say the team has improved. They've looked good against Indianapolis, and I'll give them credit. They started really, really hot. Even if Chase Daniels has to play this one all game long, and it's looking likely that he will, I still like the Bears. And I know everyone's going to kind of pan Chase Daniels and the backup quarterback, but how good has the quarterback been for Chicago all year long, and they're still winning games? This is still a team that can just maul you with their defense. I don't really trust the Oakland offense right now to stack up against Khalil Mack. Not to mention it's a revenge game for him. Look out, Oakland. This one's going to get ugly. And my thing is get Derek Carr out of this game healthy. He's had a history of kind of like breaking bones, like his leg and his back. This is not the kind of game you want Khalil Mack hitting this guy left and right. I want to see this game for the sure fact of I want to see what their game plan looks like. I want to see what Oakland does to protect Derek Carr.
Quick releases, strong run game. Problem is, that defense...
There's no strong run game against the Chicago Bears.
That defense is too good. Steven, we all know who you're going for. He says, Raiders! All day, he says Chase Daniels will turn the ball over a few times, leading to a victory for the Raiders. Keeping this strategy, though, and picking... I cannot talk. And pick the Bears in my league.
You got to stay chalk here. You got to stay chalk here. I think everyone's going to take the Bears. We're not going to surprise you. As much as I'd love to come out and say, Raiders are winning this one, I'm behind Drew, and I got to go back to the chalk a little bit so I can catch up. I think the Bears, when you look at this team, it doesn't matter. Mitch Trubisky didn't look good at all when he was starting quarterback pretty much all year long. How much worse is Chase Daniel than Mitch Trubisky? Realistically, maybe the Raiders do generate a turnover or two, but the Bears have bailed them out time and time again. What are you going to do with those turnovers? I can't pick Raiders here. I think this is going to be 17-6 that the Bears win this game. I think it's going to get ugly. I think Allen Robinson may score a touchdown because it seems like Chase Daniels and him seem to have a bit of a connection from last week. I don't see the Raiders doing a whole lot on offense here. This is going to be a frustrating day for a team that paid guys like Trent Brown a lot of money and still see them come up way short on Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is going to be 1.5 times motivated in this Oakland game. That's not what you want to see. It's absolutely not what you want to see. I think Khalil Mack's going to blow this one up.
Yeah, Joseph is right there with you. He says Mack goes off. Ian says Mack makes his presence known, thanking for getting rid of me. 2.5 sacks, one hurry. Bears win. Steven says His secondary, the Raiders' secondary, is what costs the Raiders sometimes. The Bears can't throw the ball. He believes the Raiders will be fine because of that.
Yeah, it'd also be nice if I'd stop backing out of the video. I'm with you, Steven. I absolutely agree. I think the Raiders secondary is the problem. But again, if this was the good group that could generate 3 or 4 interceptions against a guy like Chase Daniels, I might be more inclined to pick them to win this game. But the problem is they've been weak. So this is exactly what Chicago wants to see.
Yeah, and Dustin's agreeing with you. He says it doesn't matter how bad Daniels plays. Trubisky is average at best. But this defense is for real. The Bears win this game. He's right on board where we're at.
Yeah, not a whole lot different, right? Yes. Between Trubisky and Chase Daniels. The offense is going to be bad, but it's not going to matter if they put up 15 points. I mean, Chicago's defense is not giving up 15 points in like their past 8 starts.
Steven said they expected it to be a heavy rain for the weather turnovers. We will win.
Ooh, that's almost worse. That's almost worse because now they're going to be able to send everyone forward. If you can't throw and you don't have that dual threat, I do not envy the offensive line for Oakland. Maybe they get a couple fumbles. Maybe they get Chase Daniel to drop the ball, whereas Derek Carr covers up a little bit better because he's a starting quarterback. He's used to some of these hits.
Chase but when I have for a long time though, longer than Derek Carr has.
He's been riding the pine for a long time too.
Well, either or, he's been there.
Yeah, I get it. Do they do a lot of tuck practice while you're sitting on the bench?
You might.
I don't know. One thing I will say is this is not the kind of game I want to have a quarterback that's had some injury history like Derek Carr has had in the past going into. I don't want to play the Bears ever if my quarterback's been banged up. I don't want to play the Bears ever, period. But I think especially with an injury-prone quarterback, if you get out of this one with him healthy, you call it a win.
Well, Steven, we love your enthusiasm. I know the Raiders do too. You're a true fan. Just keep on bleeding that black and silver, man, and hopefully they can pull out a win. But as far as Sports Around the Bar goes, and Jake and me, we both believe that this will be the Bears winning this game. Let's move on to the game that Will believes is the best game of the week.
Let's move back to torture Will a little bit and talk about this Bills game because Joseph says, did you all see the last 3 times the Bills and Titans played? All 1-point wins. Well, it wouldn't have been if Kamale Correa could have hung on to that interception that was on a botched field goal that the kicker literally just went, ugh. Here, you can have it. I'm sorry, the backup quarterback, I think it was actually the punter who was the holder at the time, and it bounced out of his hands. We can't drag this up. I can't go through it. Yeah, that's always a close game because both these teams want to play defense and neither one of them seems to be interested in playing offense year in and year out. Regardless of how much they spend and what they do to fix things, these offenses have always been bad. The defenses have always been good. Look for a low-scoring affair, man. It's going to be 16-14. I'm going to say 2-point win. I don't know who wins it, though. I'm going to pick Titans and just hope that my team wins it.
Are you done torturing Will?
No, I'm not done torturing Will. But we'll talk about Tampa Bay.
No, go ahead. Torture Will more.
Let's do it. Let's talk about how they're going to lose this game to the Saints because we both picked the Saints.
No, that happens, yeah.
Well, Will, let us know in the comments, man. Who are you picking this week? Let us know. How does Tampa win this game if they do? And if not, what hope do you have for a franchise that can't beat Teddy Bridgewater and a backup quarterback in what's still a good team? You got to beat backup quarterbacks, though, if you want to be a legitimate threat. I think Tampa loses this one.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'll go right back to what I've been saying about the Saints is this defense has stepped up. They're sitting there saying, okay, we don't have our starting quarterback, so we need to make sure we play that much better of a game. Yeah, the Buccaneers got the best of them last year, but that was week 1 before the whole season started. If this was week 10 last year when they played, that game never would have happened that way. This is a completely different scenario. The Saints have had a few weeks underneath them now. They're ripping and roaring. Yeah, the breeze is not there, but it doesn't seem to matter in the win column. They're still winning games. So where do you believe that this Bucs team that struggles against teams, yeah, they played it one good game. Yeah, I'll give you that.
They had 54 points, but then all the weeks leading up to that, it seemed like the offense was not clicking. They were throwing for like 200 yards.
They also gave up 40.
Yeah. Well, it's the Rams. It's the Rams. But then this is the Rams team not scoring 40 on a lot of teams anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the same Rams team. Everyone's saying it's the Super Bowl hangover, but they still put 40 points up in your defense. This is the same caliber offense, and even though Teddy Bridgewater's not a great quarterback, they still got Alvin Kamara, who seems like he can do it all by himself. They still have Michael Thomas, who's going to be able to take advantage of that secondary. They still have a great offensive line to protect things, and they got a great defense to go with it. I think if this is going to happen, it's got to be Jameis Winston having another career day, throwing the ball for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and avoiding the picks in this one, because that's the way you attack the Saints. You got to attack them through the air. They're tough up front. You're not going to be able to run with Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones. Neither one of those guys is really that good of a running back, and the offensive line is not doing them any favors.
Yeah.
I think when you look at this game, Tampa Bay is going to have to win this on the arm of Jameis Winston.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Steven is saying that Tampa wins. Arians has them playing well, 31-20. And of course, Will says Bucs will dominate the Saints. He predicts Shaq will get 3 sacks, and the score will be 34-21.
12 sacks in 5 weeks. That would be pretty impressive, right? I don't think he's getting 3 sacks against this defensive line. But if he gets 1 or 2, how great of a season have you gotten from a guy that Denver didn't want because they had Bradley Chubb and Von Miller? A couple more here. Justin says we need a group survivor league next season, fellas. I absolutely agree. Sharif says Teddy. I know you're a Teddy guy. I'm still not all in on Teddy Bridgewater, but this is a game that even Teddy Bridgewater I think should have no problem walking away with the win here. It's not going to be a sexy win, just like I think a lot of his wins, but it could be 25-16.
Yeah,
it could be comfortable if not sexy, kind of like my car.
Chris, glad you could join us, man. Regardless if it's late, he wants to know when we are choosing the giveaways.
It's going to be a couple weeks, probably like 2 weeks from today. We are going to pick who wins. And again, guys, just a quick reminder.
We're putting a date?
Don't quote me on that. No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
We're keeping it casual. But if you do want to win a jersey of whoever you want, whatever NFL team, if you want it to be your name, you want it to be one of your favorite players, we're going to let you pick. Or if you want to win a Sports Around the Bar t-shirt, I know that's just as important to you. Yeah. All you have to do is like us on Twitter and YouTube. Each like or subscribe gets you an entry into this, so you can enter twice. If you want to do that, we've got links on our other video. Click on our page, you'll find it. Or just go on YouTube, or go on Twitter, go on YouTube, search Sports Around the Bar. You'll find us. We're there. We're looking to grow. Facebook has kind of limited our availability and our ability to go out and reach people, so we're trying to kind of branch out a little bit. We're still going to be here. Nothing's going to change if you only want to stick on Facebook, and I get that. Yeah. But if you want to support us, it'd mean a lot to us if you could do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris just wants me to buy him a Colts jersey. That's like the ultimate insult, right?
Ivy, it's good to see you.
I hope we give away a Raiders jersey.
I don't want. This is the best way for us to tell you how much we appreciate you guys immensely for everything you guys do for us week in and week out, show in and show out. I know we come on here, we goof around, we have technical errors, we get drunk, especially me.
No, not us.
No, I do. And
technical errors? What? So I get the technical errors, you get drunk.
Yeah, well, that's normal. But
thanks, Drew.
But we want to keep growing as a community because as we grow, we can maybe get rid of that technology, problems. Maybe I won't have to be so drunk. Well, let's take that back.
Maybe you can buy premium liquor.
Yeah. No, I'll still be drunk, guys. Don't worry about that.
And we want to say thank you because, again, you guys are awesome.
For that to happen, us to grow is the key. And you guys going out there and following us and liking us and just your support totally, it encourages us and pushes us forward for the future.
Absolutely. Now, Ivy's saying Saints by 3. The defense will be key. Hello to you, too. I think you're right. I think the defense is going to absolutely destroy this offensive line that they're paying all these guys who, if you listen to Pro Football Focus and what they say, should not be paid. I forget who it was. I think it was one of their tackles they paid that has like the lowest graded pass blocking in the NFL. And they paid him like 4 years, $40 million.
Will, we're not hating on Tampa.
I'm hating, but they're my team. I'm allowed to hate on them. I hate on the Titans. You don't complain about that.
I'm not hating on them.
I'm hating on them a little bit.
Prove me wrong. Get a winning season. Go to the playoffs. When have you done that?
Have a quarterback. Get Patrick Mahomes. It's easy, bro, says the Chiefs fan.
No, I didn't say that one bit. It's you haven't had a winning season. You're not in the playoffs. You're not winning a playoff game. I mean, this show started, pretty much at drafting Patrick Mahomes. If you guys would have heard me before when it was Alex Smith, you'd have heard me complain immensely about how much the regular season literally means nothing because as soon as we play the first playoff game, we're going to lose it. So it doesn't matter if we get home field advantage or we're a wild card. We can't win playoff games. So, I mean, I want teams to succeed. And as far as the Buccaneers go, they can't do it. They got to prove me wrong.
Absolutely. A couple more of these comments. Dustin says, every time the Bucs and Saints meet up, it's a shootout. If this game was in Tampa, he might pick the Bucs. But in that dome with that defense, the Saints will win. Remember last year when they beat them in that shootout, it was Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the ball all over the place with Dirk Cotter calling the plays. Neither of those guys are in Tampa Bay anymore. I think this is going to be a little bit further ahead. I'm kind of with Chris here saying the Saints win this one 24-10. That sounds reasonable. I think the Bucs score a little bit more than that. I think it'll be like 25-17, just out of reach. One of those games that you watch, it's close enough. They're always like 2 scores back, and they're hanging with the Saints. And you get to the end, they'll have like 3.5 minutes. They'll kind of like botch that 4-minute drill where they need to score really quick and get an onside. And then we talk about Tampa losing. That's not the exciting thing, but I think that's what happens in this game.
Tyler, what's up, man? Glad you could join us. Ray says he doesn't know why, but he thinks the Steelers will walk away with the W this week.
He's just feeling it. Maybe the Steelers are the team that can come back a little bit. One good example why the Ravens defense can't seem to stop anybody for the first time in like 10 years, 15 years. I think I was in like elementary school the last time the Ravens had a bad defense.
Yeah.
And they might not have had actually, they were in Cleveland the last time they had a bad defense, I think. But that's okay. Chris also says, sorry, Jake, but I don't think Tennessee will beat the Bills. You know I was going to read that comment, Drew. I'm not going to let that one go. Don't feel bad, Chris. I'm barely giving the Titans the edge here. I don't feel good about this. What about the Titans makes you feel good about the way they played? But then again, you look at the Bills, and you say, what about this offense makes you feel good? Battle of 2 great defenses. I'll go with my team. Call it bias. I don't care. I'm just going to roll with my guys.
Yeah.
Whatever. 51-49, flip the coin, and again, don't bet on this game because no one knows how it's going to go.
I'm going to read into Steven's comments and Chris's comments that they're trying to give me,
Sure.
they're trying to make me feel better being a Chiefs fan. Steven says you still have Andy Reid, the a.k.a. George Karl of the NFL. Chris says, hey, you beat Luck and the Colts once. We also gave them the biggest comeback ever in playoff history. And Steven says, he's a great coach. Ha ha. But it's true until he wins the Super Bowl.
Good to see you, Tyler. Also, Jonathan says, no mono on Sunday. I know you're thirsting for that Eagles-Jets game, man. We'll talk about that in just a second. You're right. Sam Darnold's not going to play because he said he wants to survive. Interesting kind of quote from a guy who's coming back from a non-football related injury.
Steven's calling you out. He says he doesn't remember them Ravens ever having a bad D.
Yeah, exactly. They were in Cleveland. Exactly. They were the Browns, and then they shifted. I mean, they were bad there with Belichick on defense, and then they shifted. After Belichick built that team,
they might
moved
not have
to
been
Baltimore.
that great in, like, 1996.
They won the Super Bowl, like, right after they moved, what was it, 2003? I don't remember.
It was 2000.
It was with Billy.
It was 2000.
Whatever
it
it was. No, that was it the 99, 2000 years? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
They won, like, as soon as they moved.
Yeah, so
and they had Ray Lewis. They had just Ed Reed. They had a stacked defense.
I don't think they had Ed Reed that year.
It was Cleveland.
They didn't have Ed Reed that
Maybe
year.
not Ed Reed back then.
Yeah,
they had a good defense. Pretty much since they've been in Baltimore, they've had a good defense. This is the first time in a long time. Can we just stop arguing semantics and say that this is the first time in a long time the Ravens have been bad on defense? Okay, well, we can argue, but we'll argue the semantics. The Ravens suck on defense right now. They need to get better. I mean, they let Kyler Murray tear them up. They've let pretty much everybody they've gone up against except the Dolphins tear them apart.
No, they beat some no name team in the AFC Championship that year. Oh, I think they played Oakland or something like that. Not sure.
Was that what it was? Just
Yeah.
a no name team.
No name team.
They've beaten my team so many times in the playoffs, I can't even keep count anymore.
Justin says Drew isn't a hater. I mean, his team hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 1969, and you know what? That hurts me real deep because I have not been alive to ever see my team ever succeed. This is the most my team has ever succeeded in my whole entire lifetime, and I literally have like photos of me as a little kid in like Kansas City clothing. I've been a fan for a long time, and it's been sad. This is an exciting time for me. You can at least say you've seen your team in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've seen him come up 1 yard short. There's actually a yard and a half. I've seen him come up 1 yard short. Yeah, exactly. That might have been the closest. No, I take it back. The Cardinals lost a closer game when Santonio Holmes had to do like the kind of reach out, toe tapping, end zone touchdown. Cardinals lost a closer game than the Titans did. That's probably the closest Super Bowl. Maybe Seahawks. Malcolm Butler. We're talking about game of inches. There's only been a couple that have been worse than the loss I've had to suffer in the playoffs, or in the Super Bowl, I should say. We're not going into that. Jonathan, we did not skip the Eagles. We just got off track, man. I know. Novel for this show. We never get off track. Let's move on, right? Everyone's going Saints this week, even with Teddy Bridgewater, except for Will. And Will, man, I wish you the best. I don't hate the Bucs. I have no dog in this fight. I just think the Saints are 100 times better than the Buccaneers are organizationally, and I think that's going to show up on Sunday.
Yeah. Joseph, I hope you're right, and don't worry, I don't let the haters bother me one bit. Steven just likes to poke the bear.
Okay, I'm going to leave that one alone. We'll move on, and we'll talk about the Vikings and the Giants. Again, Drew.
You take it however you want.
It's your team.
It's my
the
team.
New York Giants. Daniel Jones is my guy, but since he started, you picked him every week. Do you pick him again?
Hold on. Just because I know who's going to win the game doesn't make that my team.
They're your team now. Not
right,
a Chiefs fan. We'll get some Giants gear in here next week.
The fact that the Giants are my team, I guess now, this is actually a little bit of a really tough pick for me, and it's because I believe that the Vikings defense is going to be good enough to hold Daniel Jones back, as well as Daniel Jones is playing, as well as all these. It seems like offensively and defensively, this team is rallied around Daniel Jones. I think defensively, they're going to be able to stop Daniel Jones. The Vikings are. But I think this game is going to be close because I still don't believe that Kirk Cousins has any support offensively in his team. I think this is going to be like a defensive touchdown that kind of makes the difference in this game. I think it's going to be low scoring. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be something like 13-17.
Go ahead.
And it's going to be literally a last-minute touchdown defensively that puts it away.
I think we see a little bit more scoring because I'm not all in on this Giants defense that had one good week against a terrible offense in the Washington Redskins. And yeah, I'm still bitter about picking the Redskins. They should have dominated that team. I still don't think this defense is very good for the Giants. I think it'll be a little bit higher scoring, but I also think the Vikings are like the classic version of why you should not overthink things. You look at the way this offense plays. They threw too much last year, so what do? They come out this year and they never throw the ball ever when they have Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Now they're talking about we need to throw more. This is like the group that can never seem to utilize all this talent it has because they're always thinking about what kind of team should we be instead of working on what works. I mean, run when you can, throw when you have to. Or vice versa, throw when you can and run when you have to. This is a team that wants to have an identity. And this is the reverse of the Seahawks. I said the Seahawks do this great, where they say, we have an identity, we're going to execute on this identity, regardless of who we're playing. This is the team that says, we have an identity, we're going to try to execute on that, and it's not going to work regardless. I don't understand it. They're saying they're going to throw more this week. They're trying to keep Stephon Diggs happy, who came out and said, I didn't ask for a trade, but all these rumors you're hearing are absolutely true about them maybe shopping me. This week, you're going to see more passing, and the Giants are not in any kind of shape to stop them. The defense will do its job. They're not going to have a great day against Daniel Jones in this offense. It seems to work without Saquon Barkley, but without Saquon there, I think this has got to be a Vikings win. I think it's like 27-24. I think it's 27-25. This is going to be an uglier game than it needs to be for what should be a Super Bowl contender in the Vikings, and the Giants are going to have something that they can point to that they can say, hey, that wasn't too bad from our rookie quarterback that needs a defense, and we're going to be talking about this team being back to being good again.
Well, my fantasy team...
That was a little long. Sorry.
No, you're fine. My fantasy team hopes that you're absolutely right, because I have Thielen, and I have Gallman, who took over Saquon Barkley's spot. I have Saquon as well. I hope that you're right. I hope this is a high-scoring game. I don't see it, but everyone seems to be in these comments are completely different. I don't want to ignore Sandy. Sandy says the Bucks are winning. Winston has been playing really well right now. He believes the Bucks are in there. I'm sure Will enjoys that. Dustin,
I'm sure you enjoy some backup because so far it's been Saints. So, Sandy, good luck to that pick.
Dustin says Dalvin Cook will run all over the Giants' defense, and Adam Thielen is going to go off, and the Vikings are going to blow this one out.
He should, but I've been saying that, right? We've been saying Adam Thielen's going to show up, and he's been the best receiver, but that doesn't mean a lot when you look at the way this passing offense has gone. I think the most important thing here is this offensive line is going to keep Kirk Cousins clean against a Giants defensive front that is definitely underpowered. And if you can do that, we might see the best version of Kirk Cousins you're going to see in the purple and gold that the Vikings wear, or purple and white, whatever you want to call it. There's not any gold. There's not much gold in there. A little bit. But again, I think if you're talking about the Vikings, this might be the best version of Kirk Cousins you're going to see all season. If he struggles here, next year you paid him guaranteed money, but it's time to start looking for a quarterback, especially if the season doesn't go the way you want it to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Joseph says he gets Tate back this week. Kurt is straight garbage, and he's going to take the Giants. He believes that the Giants, with the addition of Golden Tate, makes a difference in this game.
Well, let me ask you this. If Kirk Cousins is straight garbage, does that make Jay Gruden a good coach for all that he got out of him in Washington, or is that a fluke? I can't call it a fluke. It was like for 3.5, 4 years we saw Kirk Cousins be pretty good out there. He's not garbage. You just have to protect him, and that needs to be like the best thing your team is good at, is having an offensive line. When it's not, he's going to struggle. He's a guy that needs to stand absolutely still. He's terrible under pressure, I'll give you that, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is garbage. The problem is the Vikings' offensive line is, and when you've got a guy like that, you have to protect him on every play, or he's going to get rattled and he's going to start making mistakes. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I don't think Kirk Cousins is garbage. We talked about this. I don't remember if it was Tuesday or if it was Sunday night, but there is a issue in Minnesota. There's no doubt about it. Is it Kirk Cousins? I don't think you can say Kirk Cousins is garbage because the way like you said, in the Redskins uniform, he was playing out of his mind and playing above the talent level that he had around him.
Throwing for 4,000 yards every year.
Exactly, and now going here, which I have to admit, hands down, I don't like saying this because the Redskins are my second favorite team. The Vikings are way more talented than the Redskins are. All across the board, maybe minus the offensive line. But you can't... There's an issue. There's no doubt about it. But I think enough of this controversy with Stephon Diggs being gone or being traded and wanting to be out of there, I think that this team is going to kind of rally around and win this game. I just don't know if I could see it being a high-scoring game. Not that one of these offenses can't go off because they seem to be able to prove that they can do this and score a lot of points. I just don't see it. I think the Vikings have too much pride defensively, and I think the Giants are just a team that's going to kind of play around with whatever the other team is doing and make it a close game. Guys, I hope you're all right, and I hope that this goes a really high-scoring game. Like, again, my fantasy teams will enjoy it.
Absolutely. Now, let's move on to the Eagles, because I know Jonathan's been waiting for it, man. We appreciate you sticking with us. Let's talk about them versus the Jets this week, because you look at this matchup, there's not a lot going for the Jets, right? You look at how Philly plays up front. You look at your only weapon being Le'Veon Bell. Look at starting Luke Falk. Drew, is there any kind of way you're going to see someone like Luke Falk beating a team like the Eagles?
No.
Special thanks to Cherie for reloading us here. Drew expecting the show to go long as well.
My wife is beautiful. I appreciate you, baby.
We'll be at this for another 45 minutes, I feel.
Well, dude,
that was a good bit of beer she brought in here. So
well, she knows what her man wants.
We're loading up. Are those yours,
through.
or is she getting mine?
You can have half.
Okay. Oh, well, how magnanimous. Thank you. Let's talk about this game.
No, Luke Falk's going to have some issues. This Eagles team, the defensive line that Philly's going to bring to this game with, I know Fletcher Cox has not played up to his talent so far, but I think he's going to be salivating at a team like the Jets. I think that the defensive line is going to be all over him. I think it's going to take a lot of Le'Veon Bell, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think Philly can win this game easily.
And Joe says he told us a while ago that if we remember, the Giants needed a scramble quarterback like Daniel Jones, and he is their guy. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I don't remember that. I will give you the benefit of the doubt, though. You probably did. A lot of people tell me a lot of things. But I will give you credit here. If you said that, you're 100% right. I think having a little bit of mobility is good, but I also think the offensive line has stepped up this game this year. They have done a good job, or at least a decent job, of putting names and bodies on this offensive line that can help out. Will Hernandez at guard. They brought in Zeitler at the other guard to play. They have, I always want to call him Logan Menkins, but it's not. Who's the dude from New England they signed?
Nate
Solder, thank you. Same guy, right? They signed Nate Solder for an ungodly amount of money, but it helped this offensive line out, at least improve somewhat. I think when you look at the Giants, it's been a confluence of a lot of things. And I think just getting a little bit of new blood and a little bit of new energy in there has been what this team has needed. The scrambling helps. You're 100% right on that. The scrambling 100% helps there.
Do you want these now?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm ready. Also, my body is ready. Also, Dustin says, Philly is banged up a bit. Bell is going to have a good game, but Wentz is going to carve that defense up. He thinks Ertz is finally going to have a big game. I'm with you, man. The defense is banged up. I think Wentz has a good one here. I don't think Le'Veon Bell is as good of a game as we think. Philly has been very stout up front and very atrocious in the passing game. What's the way to solve that? You play a third-string quarterback that the Dolphins and Titans said you're not good enough to find your way onto our roster. And that's not a... No, it is a shot at Luke Falk. I mean, maybe I'm just upset you didn't work out in Tennessee when we drafted you with that Tom Brady pick in the 6th round. But... again, this is not the guy that you want playing quarterback for you. Luke Falk is not the guy you want under center. Trevor Siemian's not the guy, but you can live with Trevor Siemian. You can't really live with Luke Falk. This is a disaster scenario when you're on your third quarterback already.
Yeah. Antoine, good to see you, man. It's been a long time. Ty, good to see you as well. Antoine saying, damn right, the Eagles win. And Ty says, Jeffrey is going off. Now, I got to go to Sandy's comment. He says this is a trap game. Do you think this is a trap game for Philly? Because there's no way it's a trap game for the Jets. The Jets are playing their third-string quarterback. Is it a trap game? Because, real quick, Sandy, I like what the Jets are trying to do defensively. I like the direction, I guess is the best way, that they're trying to put the offense in, but it's not working so far. You know, obviously their receiving weapons need to get a lot better than what they have there. They brought in Le'Veon Bell, that's great, but they really haven't seen a lot of great things happening from Le'Veon Bell because the rest of the offense is failing. You don't have Sam Darnold. Where is a trap game for Philly in this? It's a little bit of a question mark for them.
They've been a team that's played good defense in the past. They have not played good defense recently, but they played good defense in the past. Maybe that defense steps up a little bit. We see them kind of resurge against a team like Philadelphia, but this passing attack should be fine. Carson Wentz was kind of out to prove something against the Packers, who in my opinion are a much better passing defense than the Jets are going to be this Sunday. It should be a game that they can get away from, but these are games like we talked about with Tampa Bay last week and the Rams that it's the NFL. Every one of these guys deserves to be there. Every one of these guys is a fantastic athlete. Even when we say this guy's garbage, like I just said Luke Falk is garbage, he's still a 1% athlete in the entire world. They can have a good day.
You would lose to
the Eagles can have. Oh, you think so? Yeah, I would lose to a guy who lifts weight for a living in a fight. You think so? Gee, Drew, I don't know. How many kickers do you think you take in the NFL? What's the over and under? I think I could take Vinatieri, but he's 50. Beyond that, how many guys do you think you could take in the NFL?
I mean, probably quite a bit if I had a baseball bat.
I don't think so. I think a guy like Brett Kern would kick the shit out of you. All right, but again, you're right. Luke Falk probably could whoop my ass. Thank you for making me feel inadequate. Let's talk about the Jets again. Let's talk about why the Jets. Maybe it is a trap game. Maybe this is the game Philly looks at it and they said, man, we got up for that Packers game. We're going in to play the Jets. We got this. And the next thing you know, it's like 17-0 in the second quarter. And you're like, what the hell just happened to us?
Ty, we did not see that comment, so go ahead and throw it back at us, man. Sorry you had to leave the video. I don't know what's going on, man. Just technical issues. Sorry, I just wanted to answer them real quick.
Oh, it's all right. Also, Jonathan says as long as we, me being the Eagles, don't give up big plays, this game should be over by the second quarter. Who on this receiving corps is making big plays? Guys like Jamison Crowder, and they've had injuries. Is Luke Falk giving up and making a big play? Le'Veon Bell has the opportunity to, but with this defensive front and the way the Jets' offensive line is played.
And I like Bell, and I like Crowder, but there's no way with Falk at the helm with this defensive line. Sandy,
do you think it's to Joe's point, saying that they aren't comfortable together? The Jets? They're not comfortable together? I don't know if it's a comfort. I think it's a lack of talent. I think when you look at this receiving group, you look at the offensive line, you look at the defense.
We also got to think about this. This is week one. This is year one with Adam Gase calling on the shots. You do need to give this guy
with backup quarterbacks pretty much the whole way.
You need to give this guy another year. I mean, it's not like get rid of Gase. That's how bad.
I'm not saying hang the
guy.
I
know, but it's there is an issue in the Jets organization, and at this point in time, you have to point it to the quarterback situation. When Sam Darnold's out with mono, there's not a whole lot you can do. Sandy, we love your comments. Please don't ever stop commenting. But as far as the trap game goes, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
But that's what makes a trap game, right? You just don't see it, and then it happens.
It's not happening.
Like kind of the Raiders in Indianapolis last week.
Does Falk go off? If it happens, is it Falk? Is it Falk that makes it happen?
If he does, why is he not on my team's roster? But no, I don't think so.
It would have to be Bell,
the
right?
Dolphins and the Titans let him walk.
I mean, they got so much talent on that defensive side of the ball, but no one seems to show up.
C.J. Mosley does when he's healthy. I like C.J. Mosley. I like him a lot.
I like Adams.
But
I like
C.J. Mosley isn't going to go out there and cover
Johnson.
Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah, I get it. The Jets don't have enough yet. This is a team on the rebuild. Philadelphia needs to win this game if they're going to stay in playoff contention. I know the Cowboys are rooting against them. I know the Giants, who seem like they're actually back on track, are rooting against them. But for all intents and purposes, this is Philadelphia's game to lose.
All right. Sandy was messing around.
It could be a trap game. It could be.
No,
don't feel bad by saying it could be a trap game, because that's exactly what defines a trap game. Nobody's picking them. Everyone's like, this should be Eagles all the way, and then we're going to be watching this on Sunday like, how the hell are the Jets hanging with them?
The only game on this whole entire board right now The only game that's not a trap game is the Raiders will never beat the Bears.
Really? You think the Packers are going into Dallas thinking we got this?
You
think the Titans are playing the Bills thinking we got this?
Steven,
they totally are.
That's the only game that's not track. This is the only game that's not 50-50. Every given Sunday, any of these games can happen, except the Raiders beating the Bears. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely. Okay. We appreciate all the comments, guys. We do need to keep grinding.
That's why I got more beers for us.
Because you know we're going to be at it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to play the Pittsburgh Steelers here.
We've already talked about this game.
This is a tough game, though. This is a tough game. A trap game indeed. I mean, Mason Rudolph at quarterback. What does that mean? Normally, I'd say Ravens all day, especially after the first couple weeks. Lamar Jackson can throw. Remember all that? And now that's out the window. He may throw here. He may beat up on a bad defense.
Throw for a running back.
Yeah, not bad for a running back. I hope that sticks around. Also, the Ravens defense can't stop anybody. So who wins? Like it's the reverse of that immovable object, unstoppable force kind of thing. Except it's a defense that can't stop anybody versus an offense that can't seem to get it going. They did okay against the Bengals last year, last week, last year too, but last week too, especially.
The Bengals.
The Steelers I was talking about.
I know, but you said
it was the Bengals and
the Bengals.
The Ravens stink on defense right now. Is it time to admit that?
Yeah, they're not near as good as they could be. And
should.
Were. Yeah,
everything else would be.
There's a problem here. I know Mason Rudolph played really well. Again, it was the Bengals. I know they finally got their first win, so they get that notch off their belt. They get that monkey off their shoulder. The Steelers don't have to worry about not winning a game this season. They won one. But the Baltimore Ravens still have their starting quarterback. The Baltimore Ravens still have everything that they thought that they needed to go into this season.
Okay.
They got their running back. They got their receivers. They got their safety. They got the defensive players where they want them. Have they all panned out? No. But which team is more complete right now with the roster that they started with?
It's got to be the Ravens.
It's the Ravens.
And that's why everyone here in the comments is taking the Ravens.
And that's where I'm going to stick with. Not that you can't go to the comments. That's what I'm going to stick with. I know Ian's already off.
We're actually flipping. This isn't sticking. We said Steelers offseason, but we also thought Big Ben would be here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sticking with what I said before the show.
Sure.
And I know Ian's not here no more. It's not a hate on the Steelers. It's just the Ravens are a more complete team right now.
Absolutely. And Steven saying Baltimore blows this one away. Dustin saying it doesn't even matter how good or bad either team is here. These teams play each other hard every single time. He's picking the Ravens, but it'll be close. The one thing I like about the Steelers is they are very good up front. Their front seven has been fantastic this season. The secondary's been atrocious, but their front seven has been very, very good. They've been good getting after the passer. They've been good against the run. It's a great. If I'm building a defense, that's where I want to see it first. I know all the analysts do that against this Baltimore offensive line, which has been good up till now, but still not fantastic. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have to use his legs to win this one. He's going to do it because I don't think they're going to be able to stop guys like Marquise Brown through the air with the corners they have in Pittsburgh. But you look at this Ravens game. They're going to have to get creative to win. This can't be Mark Ingram 28 times for the W here. I don't even think it should be Lamar Jackson for 15 rushes here. I think they're going to get after it. It's going to be a game that they're trying to lay hits on a divisional quarterback. I don't want Lamar Jackson running as much as he can because I'm worried about him taking a lot of shots in this game.
Yeah, I can see that. Ivy says she's going to go out on a limb and she has faith the Ravens will win this. Not to be pretty. Just
not going to be pretty.
Well, she's not being pretty right now. No, I'm just kidding. Ivy, you're pretty. It's a joke. Not to be, and it's not going to be pretty just to squeak it through. I agree. I know Steven says...
You don't agree. You took the Ravens.
Hold on.
Or do you agree it's not going to be pretty?
No, she has faith the Ravens will win this. I'm saying it's not...
Then I don't know what I'm talking about.
What I'm saying is... I agree. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like Steven says, where he says Jackson's going to go off and it's going to be a 35-10 Ravens. I think this game's going to be close. I think it is going to be the Ravens that end up winning this game, but I think it's because the Ravens are just right now a more complete team than the Steelers are. Chris says Pittsburgh's defense still isn't where it needs to be. The Ravens win 21-18. Baltimore just isn't clicking on offense since week 2. I do think that the Baltimore Ravens will click better on offense. I do think the Steelers will click well on offense as well. I just think it's going to be a very close game.
I think, no, I don't know if it's close. I think they'll win it. Again, this might be another week where we see Lamar Jackson throw for 350 yards, and all these Baltimore fans and Lamar Jackson fans come out of the woodwork and say, he can throw, bro. He's great. Look at what he just did this week. But look who he's throwing against. And this has always been my complaint about the kid. I think he's fine when you're playing bad teams, but if you want to win a Super Bowl, eventually you're going to come up against one of these secondaries like the Bears have, or one of these defenses like the Bears have, or you're going to play the Eagles that are constantly in the backfield and laying hits on your quarterback. Long term, it doesn't work out. Long term, you're going to have to play teams that are good on defense, and this isn't one of them. I think the Steelers will get back there a little bit, but has there been a secondary that's been as bad as the Steelers has been? Yes, but you get my point. They're bottom 25 of the league. Lamar Jackson will throw in this one. I think it stays comfortable Ravens, but it's not going to be one of those games where the Ravens just blow this out and we're talking about, oh, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the league, like it was when they played Miami and Arizona in the first couple weeks and everyone was ready to crown him the next best quarterback of the AFC North.
Ty says Mark Andrews makes a difference too. If he's 100%, it changes a lot.
He might be the best tight end nobody talks about. Mark Andrews, that is.
This year.
And it's tough when you talk about how many tight ends they've had in Baltimore, just in and out. He's been there for the past couple of years, but they've had so many guys. It's kind of like running back there that you get lost in the shuffle. I think this year he stood out. I think he's probably the most talented guy they've got, and he might be a top 7, top 8 tight end in the NFL right now. It's just he's kind of in that Austin Hooper territory where they forget about you some games. You don't do stuff. Will Dissly, kind of the same group.
That was the guy I was going to bring up. Yeah. Eric, good to see you, man. He's saying, go, Pack, go.
Well, we haven't got to him yet. We're talking about the Pack here in just a few minutes, but let's move on to the Patriots and Washington Redskins. We don't want to sell this short, but we're talking about an 0-4 team going up against the world champion New England Patriots. We're talking about Colt McCoy matching up against Tom Brady, who I like coming out of college, like him less these days, especially in this Washington offense.
Steven wants us to bring up Darren Waller, too, as far as a tight end that no one's talking about.
Well, Darren Waller has been a guy no one's talking about, but then again, he's also had, 4 good weeks with Oakland? And I know they're on bye this week, so props to you for sticking with us when your team's on bye. I know a lot of people are like, my team's not playing. Why do I need to watch sports this week? Props to you, Steven, for being with us. Darren Waller has been fantastic. I want to see consistency because before this, he's been a guy that's been in the league for 4 or 5 years. I think he was on Baltimore before this. He's kind of like Jared Cook, where everyone said this guy has so much physical potential. He has so much stuff. He has all the weapons, and yet it never has come together. I give them props in Oakland for finding a way to make it work. Show me this over 16 games, and I'll be like, look out for Darren Waller in 2020. How about that? Is that?
Well, it's the same
I like
thing.
what I've
It's
seen.
the same thing with Andrews. It's this year.
Well, last year he showed up too. Last year he was good, but
it's the
and
same
before that they had
scenario
Ed Dixon, and they're spreading the ball around because they're the Ravens, and we pass to everybody. I'm with you. I am with you to a point.
Oakland on a bye. Come on, man. You drank too much, bro.
Who do the Raiders play?
The Bears.
They might as well be on a bye. This is an instant loss. I am stupid. Sorry.
You're not stupid. You're just
I'm just dumb. I messed up the tech. I messed up the Raiders game.
Look what you did, Steven. You made Jake cry.
I know. Well, my bad. Well, thanks for showing up anyway, even though your team is playing. Darren Waller's good. What was it talking about? I don't know.
But you did misspell something here. Well, you actually don't know English. You said you drank too much. That doesn't even make sense. You speaking Chinese? What is that?
You got to clarify the joke.
You can't drink too much?
Yeah, pretty much. Apparently I'm
what do you
dumb,
mean
though.
Clarify the joke. It doesn't even make sense. He says
you lost me,
drank
Drew.
too much, bro. What is that?
And
Who are you?
Ty, going all the way back to the Steelers, and who's worse, as the Cardinals secondary, the Rams all of a sudden? Well, the Cardinals are missing Patrick Peterson and Robert Alford, their starting corners, so I'll give you that, I guess. But that's due to injury. You're not going into the season saying we're going to be terrible, and we just paid a new corner $25 million to be bad for us in Steven Nelson like the Steelers are. I think, again, the Rams have guys. The Cardinals have guys who are not playing well. The Steelers are like, we're paying this dude. He's out there, and we still suck.
Going back to this game.
There are worse secondaries. Not a lot of them. Eagles, they're worse.
Going back to this game, Chris says Washington wins 17-14. Brady's not playing like Brady. And then Joseph says Pats win by 56, a shutout.
Ty also said, sorry, I'm going comments here. Aqib Talib looks bad. Yeah, but Aqib Talib's like 33. Cut him some slack. A couple more. Going to what you were talking about. Do the Redskins win this game?
Well, Ray says the Redskins are the next Browns.
Have they not been? If I missed something? I think as long as...
Hold on.
Sure.
Okay. Let me give you this. I know everyone thinks Colt McCoy can't play. I gotta completely disagree with you. This guy has literally... He's played well enough to be still in this league for a while now. Is he good enough to beat the Patriots? No. But if this was maybe the Giants last week...
I'll be honest with you.
The game might have been a little bit different.
No. I'm going to pump the brakes. I am going to pump the brakes. And here's my point. I like Colt McCoy. He's not better than Case Keenum. And we don't love Case Keenum, but Case Keenum's the better quarterback. He should be the starter.
I would rather have Colt McCoy than Case Keenum.
I would rather have a bullet in my head than pick either one of them. But if I had to take one, I'm taking Case Keenum. Honestly, Drew, I look at this game, Case Keenum is the better quarterback. Look what he did in Minnesota. When was the last time you looked at Colt McCoy and said, wow, look what he's done? Oh, yeah, I can tell you. Texas. Yeah, that was the last time you looked at Colt McCoy and said, look at this guy.
College ball at? Exactly. You don't know because it doesn't matter. He's never been good. Don't take that 1 year in Minnesota with a lot better team and a lot better team around him.
Sure.
To sit there and say you've done well.
How many chances have we given Colt McCoy? How many chances have we given Colt McCoy?
He doesn't stay healthy, man.
Yeah, well, okay, but he was a high draft pick, dude. He doesn't stay healthy. He can't be on the field, and when he's out there, you're like, eh. And don't get me wrong, I was the guy saying draft Colt McCoy. I'll tell you right now, I missed the swing of the bat.
I don't know where Case Keenum went to college with, by the way.
Okay, that's fine.
You don't have to look it up. I don't know either.
When we were talking about Colt McCoy coming out, I was like, this guy might be good. I mean, who didn't watch him playing at Texas and say, wow, this kid looks great. He looks like the next best quarterback coming out of college football. And then it never really panned out. Guy's missing the pros. And I think Colt McCoy is one of those guys that's like, he's the backup quarterback.
Houston.
He was a backup quarterback. Was it Houston? That's a great call, Steven. I hope you didn't Google it. Let us know if you Googled it. I would have had to Google it. I forget where Case Keenum played.
Oh, there's Joseph.
Not highly lauded. All right, well, apparently Houston's confirmed.
No, he did not play well. He did not.
What, at Texas? He played well at Texas.
No, at Houston. Case Keenum.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, you have to, right? Nobody's like, damn, this guy's a bum in college, but we're going to draft him anyway. Except Daniel Jones. He was. Everyone's
That's
like,
dude.
I know, but look at the way everyone panned him for playing at Duke. Everyone's like, he's not even that good. And were we wrong? Kinda.
Dustin, you might be right. This game's not even worth talking about.
It's going to get ugly.
It's going to get ugly.
Can we agree on that?
Yes, let's move on.
All right, well, final thoughts here. The Redskins, even though they're playing for almost their coach's life here, and Jake Gruden might have something to play for. Maybe this is the trap game everyone was talking about, but I look at this game. Maybe they can't run. Maybe the Patriots can't run, and it gets on Tom Brady, and we see a little bit of a struggle. I will give you that. That could happen. I don't see it happening. I think the Patriots run away here. But potentially, in some alternate universe, the Redskins keep this one close because Sony Michel, James White, and Rex Burkhead can't get anything going on the ground, and we're asking 43-year-old Tom Brady to beat a defense that's not terrible. Shouldn't be terrible, but then got rocked by the Giants last week. Yeah, I know. I picked them. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Patriots, just like everybody else in the media. Nobody's taking the Washington Redskins here, but there's a chance that they have a close loss instead of a huge loss.
Okay, guys. Well, everyone's on Case Keenum's wiener because Steven says Keenum had 3 years of 5,000 yards if he recalls them.
No way. Not in college. They only play like 12 games.
No, I'm reading it.
3, 4, 5,000. Okay.
3, 4, 5,000 yards, if I recall, in 1 year in Houston.
Also,
Joseph
remember
said,
Houston.
Yes, he did. He is the NCAA passer all time in yards now.
Now he says now I don't know, but before when he left, sure. But also remember Houston doesn't play in a great conference. Remember that. Houston doesn't play a lot of high caliber competition.
Care. Okay, Joseph, would you sit there and take Case Keenum over Patrick Mahomes? No, you would not. Steven, would you take Case Keenum over Derek Carr? No, you would not. Case Keenum is not a good quarterback in the NFL.
No, what he was talking about, he says, greatest comment of all time was Dustin saying, at this point for the Redskins, it's Brucey's time to shine. going back to the longest yard, I agree with you, man. I mean, they're playing everybody. Case Keenum's a better quarterback than Colt McCoy. I like Colt McCoy. I think he's a solid backup. Not a good one, but a solid backup in the NFL. You don't beat the Patriots with one of these guys. You just don't do it. And I think this is going to get an ugly game. This could be an ugly game. And we're going to be talking about when things go off the rails, like it has for the Redskins. They're talking about Jake Gruden didn't want Dwayne Haskins, and now Dan Schneider's making it. This is because they're losing. If they were winning, none of this talk comes out. That's all I can say. This is Patriots 100% of the time. The question is, what are we talking about the Redskins next week when Jake Gruden needs to keep his job? And, they didn't give me the offensive line I want. They didn't give me the running back I want. They didn't give me the defense I want. They didn't give me this or that or whatever. This has got to be Patriots all the way, and we're going to be talking about, does Jay Gruden survive at the end of the season? And is Dan Schneider the worst owner in the NFL?
Possibly. Can we go on the next game?
You can.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. About time. Jacksonville and the Panthers. You say thank God, but then you're going to watch this game.
No, I'm a Redskins fan. I don't want to talk about this game. This is terrible. I don't want to talk about my...
Joseph's all memory says no Googling. Good job to you.
Well, he didn't smoke a lot of marijuana.
All right, we'll keep going. Let's talk about Jacksonville and the Panthers, because I look at this game, Drew. I hope to everything out there. I don't care. The universe, to God, to everything. That Gardner Minshew struggles in this game, because we just saw Deshaun Watson struggle against the Panthers defense. And for the love of God, if he throws 200 yards here, Minshew mania is going to go off the tracks. And my heart can't handle any more of it, Drew. I'm so tired of this. For a guy who throws 200 yards every week, we're talking about him like he's Peyton Manning. I know, it's fun to joke about. It's fun to make the memes. Stop it. Get some help. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of a guy throwing 200 yards and we're talking about like he's a great quarterback. I'm so tired of it.
Did you know he's the one making all the memes?
No, he's not. ESPN's in on it. Oh, he's got a great mustache. Oh, I'm sure that helps him throw the football on Sunday.
Did you also know he's the one putting the footballs together prior to the game? He's in there sewing them all.
Joseph's already bought it. He says Gardner wins. Minshew for president. Maybe it's just because he's on the Jaguars.
Hold on.
And they're in my division.
Well, let me just tell you this right now.
This has just annoyed me from the beginning.
If Gardner Minshew was doing our tech, we would never have a problem.
If you're listening on podcast, I'm speechless. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say here. This is the same retard who tried to break his own hand with a hammer. I don't think I'm allowed to say that on Facebook. We're about to get shadow banned. I don't know, man. I don't know. And Chris says, do I know that Minshew is better than Mariota? Yeah, but that doesn't make him a good quarterback. That's like... Never mind. I'm not going to say that. I'm about to go off the rails here.
All right. Let's talk about this.
Is he better than Marcus Mariota? He's healthier. He's had like 3 games where he's thrown 200 yards, and that's like a high point for Marcus Mariota, so I'll give you that.
He have a really bad game.
Houston wasn't great. What was it, 12 points?
Have a really bad game.
Well, like 3 interceptions, like 120 yards, and a huge loss, sure. But when you're playing with that kind of defense, who needs bad games? I mean, he didn't play well against the Titans. They scored 20 points, and 7 of them came off of a fumbled punt. I mean, he's scoring like consistently 12 points a game. And okay, he beat the Broncos. High five! You beat the Broncos, who are 0-4. Guess who else has done that? Everybody.
I was excited about a high five.
Okay, look. I don't even know what to say. Look, everyone is saying that Gardner Minshew is the best quarterback, blah, 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 blah. It's fun. It's a great joke. I know he was shaking Peyton Manning's hand, blah, 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 blah. It's a great story. I'm glad Jacksonville finally has a quarterback, but until he cracks the threes, I'm not on board. Okay? I'm not on board. Miss me with that. That's all I can say. Miss me with all that shit. I'm so tired of this.
My question to you is...
I did go a little hysterical there for a second. Sorry.
That's okay. You're going Panthers. I'm going Jags. I'm going to stick with our off-season pick. If Gardner Minshew wins this game with the Jags defense, the Jags offense...
How does he win it?
I don't care if he throws for 100 yards or 300 yards.
I do.
Or 3 touchdowns or 3 interceptions. I don't care. My thing is, if he wins this game, what kind of credit do you give him?
Again, it depends how he wins. If he throws 260... Oh, here's my thing. If he throws 220 yards here against a defense that just frustrated Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going to say, okay, we need to start giving this kid some credit. Like, if DJ Shark goes off here and we see a great week out of a receiver that, again, last year everyone was talking about this guy doesn't deserve to be an NFL receiver. All of a sudden now he's the hot thing in the NFL because Gardner Minshew's throwing him the ball. I think we start giving him credit. If he throws 150 yards here and Jacksonville's defense beats the hell out of Kyle Allen and Kyle Allen fumbles 3 more times and Jacksonville wins 18-16, am I ready to jump on the Gardner Minshew bandwagon because the defense bailed his ass out again? No. I'm not going to. And guess what's going to happen? The same thing I said in Denver last week. He's going to throw 200 yards. The defense is going to bail his ass out. The defense is going to play well. And we're going to be talking about, he's a great quarterback in the NFL. Everybody but me. It's all in how you win it. If he beats up this Panthers defense that just frustrated Houston, who is a much better team than the Jaguars are, I'll back off, right? I'll say maybe there's something to this. Maybe they need to get an offensive line. Maybe they need to get some receivers, and Leonard Fournette needs to play better. Remember, Leonard Fournette ran for 220 yards last week against the Denver Broncos. That's not Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew's not making Leonard Fournette run well. That's the Broncos sucking and not having Bradley Chubb for a lot of that game and not having any linebackers or anyone in the secondary who can make an impact. This game, if Gardner Minshew is going to be a great quarterback, I want to see some stuff happen through the air. I want to see you beat up on a Panthers defense that just frustrated a better division rival than what they have. If he throws for 180 yards and 1 touchdown and maybe 1 pick and they win the game 16-14, he's not there. But if they win this game 28-14 and Kyle Allen, even despite his fumbles and his struggles, looks like a far inferior quarterback to Gardner Minshew, then I'll say maybe we need to back up a little bit. This is, again, another test for a quarterback that to me is unblooded in the NFL because he's played the Titans and sure, he did well once they started off well and they fumbled a punt, yada, yada, yada. Malcolm Butler could have had 2 interceptions in that game. We could be talking about him having 120 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns, and losing to the Titans. Vice versa, they beat the Broncos. Good job. Leonard Fournette beat the Broncos. Gardner Minshew didn't beat the Broncos. Leonard Fournette beat the Broncos. This needs to be Gardner Minshew if I'm going to respect the guy. And this is the defense to do it.
Well, I can't sit there and say he hasn't played a good defense. I know some of you guys have put that in a comment. I don't believe that. I believe Tennessee has a very good defense. And regardless if it's a short field or a long field.
Well, you say short field, we're talking about 7 yards.
I don't care.
You should, because how many defenses keep them out of 7 yards? Chicago. Except for that, Chicago.
I just let you rant forever. Let me speak. I don't care if it's a short yardage or long yardage. A good defense does not allow a bend or a break. They allow bends, but they don't allow breaks. This Panthers defense is a lot better than a lot of teams or a lot of people assumed it was going to be. This secondary is a lot better than I assumed it was going to be, and I'm sure a lot of other people as well.
Joseph's going to give me an aneurysm saying this is going to be the Rookie of the Year. I'm going to die on camera.
If he wins this game, regardless if it's 200 yards and 0 interceptions and a pick, I still think you got to give this guy credit because he did not make enough mistakes to allow his team to lose this game. This team defensively is playing pretty much, again, another team playing out of their mind, just kind of like the Buccaneers are, where this defense, they got players.
They're better than that, but yeah.
But my point is they're playing a lot better than what they should be.
They're playing what the Jags defense should be playing.
Exactly.
And maybe it's Gardner Minshew giving them hope.
And is it whatever you want to put it as, but if he can win this game, ugly or pretty, statistically, if he can allow his team to win it, have a chance to win this game and win it, I think everyone who doesn't like Gardner Minshew, mostly just Jake, has to give this guy some credit.
Do
I think he's a Rookie of the Year? No. Do I think he's going to be the best quarterback that we've seen ever as far as, in Jacksonville? I don't know if I can give that to him. Mark Brunell was a great quarterback in Jacksonville's history, and I think a lot of people kind of misunderstand how great that guy was. But maybe this might be the next starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I kind of agree. There's another guy that I can't remember. Oh, Ray says if the Jaguars win, Nick Foles lose his starting position. I actually think that might have already happened, Ray. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to ride this train until it dies. Do I think Nick Foles is traded away? No. But do I think that they give Gardner Minshew a chance to keep playing? If they keep winning games, yes. And if they win this game, it's a better possibility that Nick Foles does never play another down in Jacksonville.
I couldn't possibly disagree more. I think this is also one of those things that, let me give him some credit. For a backup quarterback, this has been great, right? You won games with him, and you hung around with Houston, who's by far the better roster than Jacksonville is. Even though they have the defense, and Houston's kind of working just with the front seven. You look at DeAndre Hopkins, you look at Will Fuller, you look at now Kenny Stills, Laramie Tunzel, and especially Deshaun Watson. To hang with those guys, it's impressive. It's not a one-man feat. Gardner Minshew didn't lose this game 45-43. He lost this game 14-12. But I'll give him credit for what he's been and what you're asking for Gardner Minshew, or what you should be asking for Gardner Minshew. He's been good. Okay, he's been very good. But people get carried away when guys on bad teams have a little bit of success. That's exactly what's happening here. I'm kind of with Ivy here. She says if the defense shows up again, the Panthers should win this one because of what they have on defense. I think this is going to get ugly, and I want it to get ugly because I'm so tired of the joke. The joke to me has gotten stale. I'm so tired of everyone saying, "Oh, Gardner Minshew this, Gardner Minshew that." I hope the Panthers smack them. I hope it's 38-6. And this isn't just because I'm a Titans fan. I'm tired of all the overhype. And that's what it's been. For a guy throwing... This hasn't been the guy coming in, throwing 346 yards, and you're like, damn, look at that. This hasn't even been Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen, to me, has been the better story for the Panthers.
But not every quarterback can do that.
Kyle
Wilson doesn't throw for 300 yards.
But they don't ask Russell Wilson to do that. They are asking Gardner Minshew to do it, especially every week except the Broncos, where Leonard Fournette's not running for 200 yards. They're asking Gardner Minshew to do that, and he's not doing it. More than that, he's throwing Malcolm Butler easy interceptions, and Malcolm Butler's like, nah, we'll let him have it. They did. They absolutely did. That was all on Gardner Minshew to win it. And guess what? He still only threw 200 yards. Malcolm Butler makes 2 plays. We're talking about the Titans dunking on him. And not by a lot.
It's the same scenario when I talk about if D Ford wasn't offside.
It's not. It's 100% not, because it was multiple times. You're talking about one play where D Ford was offsides and Tom Brady threw a pick at an inopportune moment, got canceled. I'm talking about multiple Malcolm Butler interceptions that should have happened. And again, I don't want to criticize Malcolm Butler too much here because his cornerback's impossible to play, but he let DJ Shark dunk on him twice. And again, if that doesn't happen, we're talking about Gardner Minshew throwing the ball for like 106 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. How much do we love him after that?
Dustin is right on board. Yes, he's won the games, but Minshew has not been there. Has not been the driving force.
The defense has showed up.
Nick Foles is the better quarterback. Not sure why. A little hype because of a guy and his mustache.
But
would end up putting a Super Bowl MVP on the bench.
Sure, but this is like the Jacksonville move, right? You fall in love with the guy who gets all the hype around him. They put him in there, and then they start losing games after that. The good thing, yeah. Or he has like one good season with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns looking good, and we're talking about him being Jacksonville's future quarterback. I mean, I don't want to say I fell for it. I was saying Allen Robinson all the way back then.
All right, Dustin, we'll give you this. He's upset that we haven't spent this whole conversation talking about a backup while McCaffrey, who will be the reason Carolina wins, hasn't been mentioned one time.
I think it's on Kyle Allen, actually. Don't make the 3 fumbles like you had last week, and we're talking about this being a Panthers win. This is on the defense. It's on Kyle Allen securing the ball. Kind of like I talked about with the Titans and Bills, and I like Christian McCaffrey. They're going to give him too many touches in this game. They're going to beat him up. They're going to shorten his career. I like Christian McCaffrey. I think he's one of the more talented running backs in the game. He's not the X factor here. We know what Christian McCaffrey is going to do in this. The X factor is, can Kyle Allen put up a Gardner Minshew kind of game, throw for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and let the defense take care of business. I think Kyle Allen's the X factor here. I like Christian McCaffrey. Believe me, no one is more happy to be there, to have him there, than Kyle Allen is this week. He's not the X factor. You need your quarterback not to fumble 3 more times, because Jacksonville will beat you when you fumble 3 times.
Joseph, I got to kind of agree with him. He goes, because you don't want to ruin chemistry. Everyone forgets about how big chemistry matters to a team. That's simple. If Minshew is winning games, you don't sit there and bench him because Nick Foles is a better quarterback.
Well, when you have a whole offseason, you've got time to build chemistry. Right now,
not
obviously,
you stick as a second string, you don't, because the quarterback takes all the first reps.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to worry about chemistry when you get to an offseason, because you can pick who you want to be the starter. That's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of threat of Nick Foles coming back right now.
As far as Dustin goes, man, it's not that I don't want to talk about McCaffrey. The guy is an outstanding talent. He's absolutely amazing. If you want me to talk about him, I absolutely will. My first concern is sit the guy down. Don't play him as much as you're playing him right now. Your team's not winning anything. If Kyle Allen is your future quarterback, That's great, but don't give. You're talking about McCaffrey right now, looking about close to 500 touches,
And
I think,
and we've
I think
panned the Panthers in the past.
and I sit there and think that I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know it's high 400 touches. You don't want to drive this guy into the ground. You can't do that. As much as I think this guy is an absolute outstanding talent, you're not winning anything right now. So why run him into the ground? It's not like the Le'Veon Bell situation where the Jets literally owe nothing to Le'Veon Bell besides money. Run him into the ground and get the best you can because you just paid the guy. As far as McCaffrey goes...
Can I stop you there? I disagree with that entirely, but go ahead.
Hold on. But as far as McCaffrey goes, I think you need to hold him back just a little bit. And that's not a knock on McCaffrey. The guy is an outstanding talent. I just don't think you should run him too much.
I disagree entirely. I think the Jets should take it easy on Le'Veon Bell because eventually, if your trajectory matches every other NFL team, you'll be good sooner or later. Don't run your running back into the ground when your team is garbage. Not that the Panthers are garbage. They've got the defense. They've got the running back at CMC. The offensive line is kind of iffy, but they've been okay at times. They've got a couple receivers who are young. You need a quarterback right now. And maybe Cam Newton's the guy, maybe he's not, but this team is closer to complete. Don't run anybody in the ground. We've complained about the Panthers and their shelf life kind of mentality that it doesn't matter. Put Cam out there when he's hurt. Put Cam out there when his foot's not right. Put Cam out there when his shoulder's not right. The Panthers' biggest thing has always been we don't care about shelf life. And that, to me, has been their biggest holdup. They don't care that a guy's going to get used up and tossed out. And then when you need him, he's not there because you used him up and tossed him out when you're not ready. I think, again, Christian McCaffrey should see fewer touches. I've said that week in, week out. Right now, you're going to get a beast. He's going to win you a few games. You're going to go 7 or 8 wins with a guy like Kyle Allen, depending on how long Cam Newton's out with that Liz Frank injury. And it's not going to be good enough. And you're going to be talking about what could have been. The Panthers need to be smarter about this. They need to start playing some of these backups that they've got and easing the load on Christian McCaffrey. Look at the Rams. They looked at Todd Gurley and said, what we were doing is unsustainable. Take a same message from them and say, we don't want Christian McCaffrey to turn into Todd Gurley where he can only touch the ball 14, 15 times, and he's ineffective when he's doing it.
Dustin, don't ever apologize for overloading us with comments, man. When we are talking to you, our passion gets the best of us.
You're here too.
The alcohol
Absolutely.
gets the best of us. We don't think you're upset with us, and I didn't mean to make it seem like that, man.
We're just juiced.
By all means, comment away. Throw your passion. Throw exclamation points. We love it. It makes for a better show.
Exactly. And if there's something you want to talk about, don't be shy. Let us know in the comments because we'll talk about it.
I like this comment. He says there's a better chance that Cam Newton never starts for the Panthers again, other than Nick Foles starting or riding the bench. Do you believe that? Do you think there's a better chance for Cam Newton not to start for the Panthers or Nick Foles to never start for the Panthers?
Well, Nick Foles will play for the Jaguars because they paid him all that money.
Yeah,
they paid him all the money. They're going to see at least next year. He's
Cam.
getting the benefit of the doubt.
Cam's paid.
Yeah, but you can move on from Cam because he's a 31-year-old running quarterback.
Nick Foles is 30.
But he's not a running quarterback. Again, you're not asking Nick Foles to take 200 hits every season.
I'll give you that.
You're asking Nick Foles to stand there and throw it, kind of like you're asking Kirk Cousins to stand there and throw it, and you're throwing your hands up saying, it's not working. He must be a bad quarterback because you're not protecting him. Same thing against the Chiefs. That should have been a shutdown kind of game. The Chiefs' defense is not that good. They should have blown up that defensive line, even though they've got some players, even though Frank Clark's in there. First game, Jaguars' offensive line should have won that. They haven't been good enough, and guess what happened? Your quarterback got a broken collarbone because of it. I'm 100% with you.
We got to move on. I know.
We do.
We just got to move on.
All right, let's talk about some other people. It's almost 8:30. We're killing it. Let's talk about the Falcons and the Texans.
Let's do it.
You're taking Panthers, or I'm taking Panthers. You're taking Jaguars.
I am taking Jaguars.
Sticking with the show, picking the offseason.
And as far as this game goes, I'm actually going to switch what we picked in the offseason. When in the offseason we picked the Texans, I'm picking the Falcons. I believe at some point in time, Matt Ryan and this wide receiver core will finally blow up on somebody. And why not the Texans? The Texans have not been playing very great lately. I know Deshaun Watson plays well, but Hopkins has not been himself. But we all know the Texans secondary is atrocious. And when you have players like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley and Freeman and Hooper, you think at some point in time some of these guys are going to catch some passes from Matt Ryan and blow the scoreboard up. I think this is the game, even in Houston. I'm taking a lot of road teams here on this board across here.
Good. Maybe I can catch up a little bit.
You probably will this week because Andrew's a little drunk. But anyways, I believe the Falcons can win this game.
This has got to be Texans. And just like Tennessee dominated the Falcons' defense, I think the Texans will dominate Houston's defense or the Falcons' defense. The question is, can Matt Ryan keep pace? I don't know. This defensive front for the Texans is pretty good. I think Matt Ryan's going to have a good day. I think this might be 38-36, but I expect Deshaun Watson and company will be looking to kind of rebound a little bit after last week's disappointment against the Panthers. They're going to beat up on this defense. They're going to be making the passing game a bit of a staple here. I got to go Texans. I think DeAndre Hopkins and company are better than what Matt Ryan is going to have on the offensive side of the ball that can't seem to click even with a guy like Dirk Carter calling the plays. This has been an offense that's perennially let us down. Week in and week out, we're like, man, the Falcons should be a good team, and they're not. You picked them to go to the playoffs this year. I was thinking they might have a chance to as well. Now where are they? They're sitting at 1-3, and now they got to go play the Texans. There's a good chance they're 1-4. I think the Texans win this one. I think they get demoralized. I think they get after Matt Ryan. And we're going to be talking about, are the Falcons any good at all, or is it time for Dan Quinn to get fired?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about it. Let's move on to the next game. We got the Denver Broncos going on the road against the LA Chargers. We went Chargers across the board. We pick them during the offseason. We're picking them in this season in this game as well.
Absolutely. But rolling back just a quick second, Dustin says he loves this game. Matty Ice and Watson, Hopkins and Julio. He thinks this game is going to be a shootout, honestly. I'm going to take the Texans only because their defense is more likely to make a stop when they need to than the Falcons are, and I 100% agree with that. Now, Ray is saying the Texans need to fire Bill O'Brien for them to start having a better season and hire Mike McCarthy. It's an interesting question. I think Bill O'Brien is the Andy Dalton of head coaches. He's just good enough that you're like, man, what do we do if we try to replace him? We might get somebody worth. Even Mike McCarthy moving in there probably doesn't solve all your issues because look at Green Bay. When McCarthy was there, they had a good offense. Defense couldn't find his ass with both hands. I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I'm not saying they get worse.
I like McCarthy. I really do. And you know I've talked about him. I'm talking about in this offseason that someone should pick him up. McCarthy is one of those coaches that need to take over someone like the Bengals or the Browns or the Redskins where they weren't that good prior and they could be good because of a better coach. I don't know if he replaces O'Brien and make the Texans that much better. I just don't think that's you're going to get that. I think you're almost, in a sense, getting the same coach.
I also... Go ahead.
And two different kind of like... Or the two different coaching schemes, but I think you're going to get the same scenario when it comes down. You might find
give me what I need,
playoffs.
and I'll make it happen. And I think Bill O'Brien suffered from that. The Texans have never been a complete roster, right? It's always, they're good, but they have this missing. They need receivers to go with DeAndre Hopkins.
Exactly.
They need a secondary.
You had a great defense, but not a great offense. Now you have a good
need a
offense,
quarterback.
but you don't have a running back. Or you have a running back, but you don't have a quarterback.
Right.
It's been an issue. And
now the offensive line isn't working.
It's the same thing with McCarthy. You had a great quarterback, but you didn't have receiving weapons. You had a great quarterback, but you had no defense. I mean... These aren't coaches like Belichick, and I don't mean to sit there and keep talking about Andy and the Chiefs, but in Andy Reid, where they can make the best of a bad scenario.
Yes,
that is just not them.
Well, maybe I don't know that Andy Reid falls in that category, but maybe he makes them better.
He hasn't won Super Bowls, but he's brought a team who was not going to the playoffs.
Let me clarify. I don't think Andy Reid falls there because he's had some fantastic offensive players. But are they fantastic offensive players
or Belichick's had Tom Brady?
I'm not talking about
all time.
Let's leave Belichick out of this one, okay? I know when you talk coach, you always talk Belichick. I'm talking about Andy Reid here.
Right.
We talk about how great Andy Reid is. Is it great because he has some great players, like guys like Tyreek Hill and Brian Westbrook all the way back in the day, and Deshaun Watson and Donovan McNabb, and he's always had all these offensive studs? Let me finish. Or are they great offensive players because Andy Reid is there and knows how to use them? And that's a question that will never be answered. It's the great question.
So let's not ignore the fact that Andy Reid took a team that wasn't going to the playoffs into the playoffs without a Tyreek Hill.
Are you talking with the Chiefs, or who are you talking about?
with the Chiefs.
Sure, they didn't have Tyreek Hill, and they got to the playoffs. Okay, and they got more out of Alex Smith than anyone else did.
Exactly.
That could be the fact. It could be Alex Smith looked great under Andy Reid, and he doesn't look good now. Or it could be that, hey, they had guys like Travis Kelce, and they had some other great players in this Chiefs offense that
Kelce was hurt
got
for
things
a
done.
year or two, but I agree with you.
Again, it's no one can ever know. And same argument with Belichick.
Man,
What if he doesn't
Jamal
have Tom
Charles,
Brady?
which was fine, but
Who's a bum? No one likes Jamal Charles. He's not a good running back. I'm kidding, of course. But that's my point. Are they good players because of their coach? I agree. Are they good players because they have Andy Reid, or are they good players because they're good players, and Andy Reid has always had good players with him? And no one will ever know. Same thing with Belichick. I don't think Belichick's going to coach too much longer after Tom Brady retires. And we're going to say, is Belichick the best coach ever, or has he just benefited from having Tom Brady? The one thing I can say is the Chiefs have always had something going for them. So we're not going to dwell on it. We're going to move on.
We'll never stop talking about this. Dustin says he's taking the Chargers. The Broncos are just bad, and they can't get it right at quarterback since Manning left.
Amen.
Agreed.
Amen.
Agreed.
Also, do you need to fire John Elway? Is it time to move on from John Elway if they lose this game? Is it already time to move on from John Elway, or does he have a little bit more rope before we hang the guy?
One thing that helps Reid is players love to play for him. He's definitely a player's coach, no doubt about it. Belichick is kind of the same scenario if you're a Belichick guy.
Well, I disagree. I don't think anyone likes playing for Bill Belichick, but he's the guy who gets results, so when you want to win, you go play for him. It's like having a bad boss that you're like, we make a lot of money under this bad boss, and you're like, I'm going to go play for this bad boss.
I disagree with you because players go back. I know this is... And that's the best way to put it. It's like, Jamie Collins is now back as, as a Patriot. There's players that have left and they came back.
Because of the success. Maybe not because they like Bill Belichick, but they're like, here's where I can win.
It's like, okay, I keep my mouth shut. I do what I'm supposed to do. I do my job. My coach doesn't get mad at me. It's
on the reverse, when you go to Cleveland and they suck, how bad, like how hard is it to sit there and look at the New England career he had and say, man, you know what? I haven't had any of these numbers. And they're talking about cutting me.
We gotta stop talking about this.
I know. Okay.
Stop talking about
we'll talk about the Chargers. I think when you look at this game, kind of like Ray saying the LA Chargers are a good team here, and he's saying it's going to be all about the running backs for San Diego against the Denver Broncos. It absolutely could be. I think when you look at this game, they have nobody up front anymore to stop the run. Now Bradley Chubb is out. It's basically Von Miller or bust in Denver.
Yeah.
This whole front seven is almost entirely falling apart. They have Wolf, good defensive end up front too, but it's getting real thin in Denver for the first time in a long time. This defense is not the same group that where they had the no-fly zone back when they had Chris Harrison, Aqib Talib. Yeah. Those days are over. Yeah. You have no defense. You have barely any running game. I think the Chargers are going to win this one. It's going to be closer because I think they run in the Chargers. Denver loses this game though.
Yeah, we have the Chargers across the board. Let's go to the final game of the afternoon games. The Green Bay Packers go on the road against the Dallas Cowboys.
The one everyone wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And we didn't. I'm going to go Cowboys. And the reason I'm going to go Cowboys is because I think Zeke Elliott is going to absolutely pound the rock against the Packers, who have struggled stopping the run all season long. It's like I said, the Bears should have done week one. Just pound the rock up the gut and see what they do to stop you. I think there's going to be a lot of that this week. I think Dak Prescott can beat them if they stack the box too much. For the most part, the Cowboys need to bounce back against losing to the Saints.
We did pick the Packers during the offseason. We're gonna both flip the script, and we're going to pick the Cowboys to win this game.
And Dustin's right. This is the main game. It's a big game. I know the Bears fans are going to be watching this. When you play Oakland and you get to beat Oakland, hopefully, you're going to be looking at this game like, maybe we make up some ground here.
This is a game where you should see a heavy dose of Zeke Elliott. If it's the run game, you see him. If it's a passing game, you still see him. I don't think the linebacking core, I know Blake Martinez is a good linebacker, but I don't think that they can kind of keep up with Zeke out of that backfield.
Yeah.
As far as the safeties go, there's just too much attention on the back end with Randall Cobb, who's going to try to have a big bounce back game, especially against his former team. You got Amari Cooper that they got to pay attention to, and there's also Jason Witten that maybe he's not going to put up tons of yards, but when it comes to red zone situation, you got to pay attention to. That's where Zeke Elliott makes his bread and butter. This is where this guy's going to make a difference. If I had a chance to play him in a fantasy league, he would be a start no matter what. I know everyone's sitting there going, well, you drafted him high. You got to play this guy. But he is a must-start maybe.
Would you play him in daily?
I probably would.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying because he's going to put up monster yards. I just think when it comes to those crucial moments, especially in the red zone, this is where you're going to see him flourish.
Now, Ray Carzales, not Ray Martinez, said that Adams is ruled out for this game. Got a couple Rays in here. Again, missing your best target, and I've been complaining about this forever, all the way through the offseason. I said Green Bay needed more weapons. I think with no Devontae Adams this week, they're not going to be good enough to beat a front seven that's as good as the Cowboys are. They're not running. Look for Aaron Jones to struggle because Jamal Williams probably isn't going to play after he took that terrible shot and went to the hospital after Thursday night. 10 days probably isn't enough to recover from that. You're probably going to be thin on offense for Green Bay. I think they lose this one, and everyone's going to be talking about, are the Packers that good? This is like a maintenance game. You're missing your best receiver. You're missing your second option at running back. They're missing a lot of important offensive weapons here. We'll be talking about the Packers aren't that good of a team after this week. Don't buy into the hype. They're still a good team. This is just the nightmare scenario. A team that runs the ball with authority and plays good defense. I think the Cowboys are going to be too much for the Green Bay Packers. They're not built to beat the Packers, or to beat the Cowboys. The Packers are not built to beat the Cowboys. They're built to beat teams like New England and the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, where these teams want to throw before they run the ball.
Absolutely. And last comment before we do our final thoughts. Dustin says, and Michael Gallup is supposed to be active, so that's going to help take attention off of Coop. And Ivy says she still has faith in her Cowboys, saying it'll be a win barely, though the Packers are looking really good. Got to have faith in the Cowboys.
I think it's going to be a little more comfortable than you think. I think this is the squad you're set up to beat. Zeke is going to get a healthy dose of running, and it's going to have some success without any D tackles or really any linebackers to stop you. I know we talk about Martinez. He's not Luke Kuechly. No. He's not Bobby Wagner that you put him out there and you're like, man, look at this guy fly all over the field. He's a good player. That doesn't make him a great player, and you don't beat Zeke with just one good player in that front seven.
Right.
Up the middle. I like their ends.
All right, man. Your final thoughts on this set of games. What do you got?
My final thoughts here. What the hell is going on in the Cardinals and Titans game? I know those are different games, but I'm saying those two games. Toss of the coin. Toss of the coin. I feel pretty good about the rest of my picks. Those first two, I had to throw them out there, and I'm like, man, this is like 51-49. Either one, if any of those teams win, I won't be surprised. I think there are a couple teams that are, again, at the bottom of the ladder trying to figure each other out. Towards the top of the ladder with the Titans and Bills. Titans are 2-2, maybe not top of the ladder, but they could be after this.
They could be,
yeah. So we got a lot of questions this week in Week 5. I think those are two of the hardest games to call. If you're betting or you're putting any money on these games, or if you're playing daily fantasy, I'm gonna say avoid all of those because I have no idea how this shakes out. It could be 6-3 in both of them. It could be 27-28, and I don't know. Again, we're going to learn more about these teams, but I think we're going to kind of define a narrative based on how these games shake out versus knowing what these teams are and seeing how they play.
They're very almost mirror images of each other in a lot of sense when you look at those two teams, no doubt about it. I gave Steven a lot of crap about
Flack is the not crap word, but go ahead.
Flack about this game. I think the Raiders and Bears game is going to be an interesting game. We all kind of know that the Raiders are not that great of a team. No offense, but we know that the Bears are. But Mitch Trubisky's out. How does this offense kind of bounce back with their starting quarterback? And do the Raiders sit there and take this momentum and push a win against a team that's a lot better than them? And you also look at the Khalil Mack. You think about someone who, hey, you let me go. It's kind of it's just a game, and this set of games that kind of just grabs my attention a little bit. Especially that I'm going to be flipping through all these games and watching because the Chiefs aren't playing until Sunday night. It's a game I'll be paying attention to the most.
Couple more comments. I'll grab them and then we'll get out of here, Drew. Ray says, but can the Cowboys win and break the curse against those Green Bay Packers the last 3 years? I don't believe in curses. You have a lot of turnover in the NFL. Even though the Cowboys have stayed semi-consistent, I think they'll be okay. I'm not worried about curses. I think they'll be all right, but we'll see. Also, Dustin says, saw an interesting stat today. A-Rod is 7-24 against winning teams since 2012. Not the Cowboys. Look at it. He's dominated them the last time he's played there. Dustin also said the Bills and Titans both have good defenses. That game comes down to Marcus Mariota and if he can deliver or not. In that case, take the Bills. And Ray says there will be no more teams undefeated by Week 8. All I can say is why? Who are the Chiefs losing to? Last one. Dustin says he stuck this thing out there the whole hour and a half and loved every minute of it. This is awesome, guys. Thanks for doing what y'all do. Fun to share my passion with other passionate fans. Thank you for sticking around with us, Dustin. It was absolutely fun. I had a lot of fun in the show.
It was.
Maybe I lost myself saying the Raiders were on bye and everything else. Maybe it wasn't our best performance, but I had fun.
So I'll forget all about this tomorrow.
So thank you guys for sticking with us, guys. It's been a bunch of fun, and Drew's got some special thanks for each and every one of you guys. The show is what it is because you are here, and that's why we're doing our giveaway, trying to give this jersey away to somebody if you follow us on Twitter and YouTube, because we want to talk more with you, and that's really what it's about. I know it looks a little self-serving at times, but really, we're about talking with you guys because we want to hear from you. We're not like these other shows that, the comments don't matter and I just want to get up here and vomit at you for an hour or 3 hours if I'm on the radio, and I'm not going to name any names, but you know who I'm talking about. We want to get you involved. We want to hear what you think.
We're not driven by media. We're not driven by a paycheck, even though we want to get paid. Woo, money. It's not like that. It's literally about exactly what Dustin says. It's about the passion of the game and sports. We are very heavily NFL. It's definitely the game that I pay the most attention to, but we love all other sports. I love hockey. I love baseball. I love basketball. All these games are a passion of mine. We just love reaching out to you, and I do want to give special thanks to everyone that commented, and if I missed you, I am so sorry. But Devin, Will, Cody, Ian, Steven, Sharif, Jonathan, Joseph, Dustin, Justin, Michael, Corey, Chris, Ivy, Ray, Tyler, Sandy, Joe, Antoine, Ty, Eric, and Ray. And Ray, if you commented, there's 2 Rays.
2 Rays.
I got
both Rays.
Martinez and I was hoping you'd have the other one.
Not in front of me.
It starts with a
C. Carzales.
If you commented early and you should have been earlier, I so apologize for it. I'm just throwing it together when I see it, but you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for joining this evening. You make sports around the bar.
We will be back and somewhat more sober on Sunday night to talk about all these NFL games as they happen.
Shorter.
Well, Drew wants to watch the Chiefs games, but we're running long. You know what I'm talking about.
You'll see Drew exit the stage.
We'll be back on Sunday to talk about all your team's action as well as everything else going on in the NFL. See, I'm fucked up too.
What?
I know. We'll see you on Sunday, and we hope to catch you there. So for Sports Around the Bar, I'm Jake. This is Drew, and we hope to catch you on Sunday.
See ya.